Hi guys, it's David, and welcome to another episode of Right to Politics. Today we're going to talk about this documentary and how it's very well paralleling what's happening in the world today as far as riots and looting, and we're going to jump into it right now.
A communist was arrested at the scene. The fire fed neatly into Hitler's narrative of anarchy, his promise to restore order, and the communist as enemy saboteur. Hitler capitalized on this by issuing a decree on the protection of the people and the state, suspending the right to assembly, freedom of speech, and freedom of the press. It gave his regime the power to suppress publications and arrest political opponents without specific charges.
So what they are doing here is the exact same thing that Black Lives Matter protesters are doing, is that they are trying to censor what we say, what Hollywood says. You see all these American white actors who voiced black characters being basically humiliated, stepping down because they believe it's racist for a white man to voice an African-American character. So not only that, taking down flags and taking down any symbolism of the Confederate cause, but yet they want freedom of speech to say whatever they want regarding their own protests and agenda.
While Hitler was consolidating power, Goebbels was using his propaganda ministry to gain control of German art, culture, and education.
The Nazis' control of art and culture was a fundamental part of their propaganda. Art has traditionally been a way in which dissent is expressed, whether that's in the form of poetry, music, or indeed painting. But the Nazis were very quick to take full control of art, abolishing some or banning it on the grounds that it was decadent.
Okay, that's referring once again to the Family Guy voice actors, Simpson voice actors, and even Bob's Burgers actors dropping their roles as black African-American characters. Here's the next clip.
On the 12th of April, school organizations declared a period of cleansing that would end in a ritualized burning of blacklisted books on the 10th of May, 1933. Bonfires were set up in Berlin, Munich, Frankfurt, Dresden, and Breslau, and lines of torch-wielding students and SA members flung books onto the pyre. Goebbels and other key party members watched as these un-German works were burned in front of the Berlin Opera House.
Okay, once again, this is the Black Lives Matters wanting to erase any part of history that has to do with racism or slavery. The parallel is identical, and it's something that is actually being used with violence and force.
If they had any doubt about the terrible threat they faced, the events over one night in November 1938 would cast those aside. In response to the murder of a German diplomat in Paris by a young Jew, Goebbels made an impassioned speech calling for retaliation. It was the embodiment of Nazi rhetoric, that all Jews were responsible for the sin of one. On the night of the 8th of November, 7,500 Jewish businesses across Germany and Austria were damaged or destroyed.
For Jews, it has a deep impact on their consciousness and their memory, because most Jews realized, experiencing the burning of their synagogues, of their prayer houses, the destruction of their homes, the arrest of 30,000 males, the murder of Jews, and the terror in streets. It symbolized the end of a German-Jewish relationship.
This is exactly what happened to George Floyd. One officer was killed by these police officers, and then Black Lives Matter protesters call for all of their followers to loot and to destroy property and businesses of the American people. What do you think about this recap? Do you see the parallels? Do you also want to know more about the upcoming decisions that are being made to remove Confederate flags from our state buildings and flags? Be sure and let me know in the comments. Be sure and like and subscribe for more content. And one last thought. You might not think that Black Lives Matter is the same as Nazi Germany, but the only reason it parallels is because Black Lives Matter is completely backed financially and with moral support from the Democratic Party. They basically do their bidding, and for a government entity to support an organization that has such crime and violence is actually quite scary. Have a good rest of the day, guys.